You're listening to the Trade Show Insights Podcast, Season 10, Episode 11. I'm your host and exhibit marketing strategist, Marlis Arnold, bringing you tools to improve your exhibit results. On today's episode, we're focused on exhibitor appreciation and loyalty. And by the way, that means appreciating both new and long-term exhibitors. And here's a hint, it doesn't have to cost a lot.
Our guest today is Jamie Romano Hillegas, and as Director of Trade Shows at Produce Marketing Association, Jamie oversees the largest fresh fruit, vegetable, and floral show in the Americas, which is ranked number 74 on Trade Show Executive's Gold 100 list and number 81 in TSNN's top 250 U.S. shows. Jamie has over 15 years of experience in the trade show industry and was recognized by Produce Business Magazine as a 40 under 40 leader in 2011. In addition to overseeing all expo logistics for Fresh Summit with 1,000 plus exhibitors and 270,000 net square feet of space, she's responsible for developing and delivering PMA expositions that draw and retain a diverse mix of global exhibitors. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to have you as a guest, as a Trailblazer guest, is because PMA and Fresh Summit are doing some really innovative things as far as how you relate to exhibitors. And I think that's so important to have, to build a great relationship with your exhibitors. So can you talk a little bit about some of the special benefits that you offer for your first-time exhibitors?
Sure. So, we're very fortunate in that we have a very high return rate for companies that exhibit with us, but we really try to help give first-timers a good experience because our show is pretty large and can be overwhelming. We don't want them to feel lost, and we want to make sure that they get connections with a lot of the people they're looking to come see. So for our first-timers, we do things like we'll give them a ticket to our president's invitation reception so that they can network with some of the top leaders in the industry. We have an exhibitor advisory committee, and we assign a member from that committee as a mentor for each of our first-timers so that they feel like they have somebody that's more of a peer, somebody that knows the event, that can talk to them a little bit more about ins and outs or insider tips that they might not feel like they get from us as a show organizer, or that they might not hear from us that way because they're getting a lot of information from us. On the show floor we put signs up so that people can clearly tell who's new, and we just try to make sure it's very easy to tell as an attendee, if you're looking at our exhibitor list online or planning for our event. It's really easy to see who's new, find who's new so that you can get right to them. We also have a pavilion that's for first-timers, and they don't have to be in it, but if they choose to be in it, we try to put it in a little bit more prominent location on the floor. We do marketing for it. We give them opportunities to be interviewed and showcased on our PMA TV that plays at our event. So we really try to make them feel part of the event and get some exposure so that they'll have that good first experience.
Well, and I think right there that's a key to why you do have such good exhibitor retention, is because you make them feel like royalty the very first time that they come to exhibit. And, like you said, they're not getting lost in the crowd. They're getting all kinds of spotlight opportunities and special benefits. And it really does make them feel like they're an integral part of the show from the very beginning. So I think that probably makes a lot of difference. What kind of feedback do you get from new exhibitors? I mean, are they amazed at what all you're offering?
They definitely like it. They definitely like the attention that's drawn to them, and I think it helps them, obviously, as far as exposure. One of the things that we get really great response about, too, is the mentoring program that we do, matching them up with somebody from our Exhibitor Advisory Committee. I feel like they think they can ask maybe other questions that they wouldn't always ask us, or that they can get some insider tips from somebody else that's exhibited at the show for years about little things they do to make the experience better. So we get really good reviews about that.
Well, and I think that's a great idea. I love the Exhibitor Advisory Committee, and I love the fact that you're taking it to the next level and doing the mentoring. Let's talk a little bit more about the EAC and how it works, because that's something that really more shows should be doing, but very few are. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's structured and how it works, outside of just being the mentoring program?
Sure. So our Exhibitor Advisory Committee is made up of about 25 members, and over the last 3 or 4 years, it's actually changed a little bit in that we have an Exhibitor Advisory Committee, but we also have a Fresh Summit Committee that's for this event, and they were separate committees in the past, but we really saw how much they needed to work together, and our show is vertically integrated, so it's not like, a lot of the exhibitors are buyers too at our show, so they're and they're our largest audience as well, so we really saw an opportunity to have them work together more, and that has made a really big difference. So the committees meet every year. We do, at our event in October, we have like a little reception meet and greet so that they can actually meet face-to-face, see who's coming on new, have that networking opportunity. And then we meet in person once a year, usually in February at the site where we're going to have the event that year. And again, the face-to-face seems to be huge with them. It really has increased the engagement we get from them throughout the year. And for me, just this past year was an amazing experience for me because at the end of our meeting, we asked them, okay, what were some takeaways you got from this? And it was just so great to hear some people stand up and say, our company was thinking about not exhibiting anymore, but just from sitting in on these meetings for 2 days, I have so many reasons why I can show them and tell them why it makes sense for us to exhibit. Or, wow. Another guy who says, this is my second year, and I came on the committee last year with guns blazing, unhappy about something, and I was going to tell you guys. And after a year on the committee, I have a completely different perspective. I totally see all you guys do for us. I totally see how what we say makes a difference. So it's been a really amazing experience to work with these people and to get their input and to make sure they understand how much we work for them,
Well, and I love the fact, too, that, like you said, they're seeing a whole different perspective. They're becoming even better ambassadors to be out there communicating with all the other exhibitors because now they've got more of a, both sides of the fence perspective that they can share.
Definitely. And, over the years, too, I put little things into place that I feel like really have helped us from the perspective of them really seeing how much they make a difference. I do a little, year in review at the end of every year where I really show them, all the things that we did that year that all came from them, or all the things that are in the pipeline that, couldn't be done this year but that are going to be done, and gotten a really great response from that, too, because sometimes, you go out throughout the year and you're doing your own thing and you kind of forget what you did when, but to see it all in one place at one time, they just get a really great sense of pride when they see that and see what a difference that their contributions have made.
That's awesome. So then how does that work? You get new exhibitors on the committee every year, or they stay on for a certain term, or how does that work?
The way we do it is we say you can serve up to 3 one-year terms. So if they're very engaged and they like it and, we're getting a lot out of it from both of us, then I usually keep them on for the 3-year term. But, I try to rotate off a set amount each year so that we can have fresh people coming on, and I try to really make sure that we have all the different parts of the supply chain represented and sizes of booths, and whether they're new or have been with us for a long time, I try to really make sure we have all that represented so that we can get all those perspectives.
Well, it sounds like you definitely put a lot of thought into your selection process, and it obviously it's paying off because not only the exhibitors on the committee, but the other exhibitors as well are also starting to see the benefit. Let's talk a little bit about, I know we talked about the things that you do for the first-time exhibitors, but obviously you're rewarding exhibitor loyalty as well, and so you have a very, I guess you would say, robust way of providing benefits, cascading benefits for long-term exhibitors as well based on how long they've been exhibiting. Can you talk a little bit about how that program is structured?
Sure. Yeah, no, that was also really important to us to not just show all the love to the new people, but like I said, we have a really high return rate, and we wanted to make sure that it was clear that we appreciate their loyalty and that they're, with us for so long. So we wanted to make sure we had some benefits for them that showed our appreciation. So basically what we do is every 5 years we recognize the companies with their logo on a banner in the public space. We have their logos on our PMA TV that runs at the event. We give them VIP passes to come see general sessions. And then what we do is just over different set time periods, we add the benefits. So they get those every 5 years. When they hit 25 years, we give them some bonus priority points to help them get in their space selection for the following year. We give additional recognition in printed directories or magazines we have. We make sure they get a personal visit from our president at their booth to, again, tell them how much we appreciate their participation. And then it just goes on from there. We give them some additional priority points when they hit 50 and 75 years.
75 years. That's pretty amazing exhibitor loyalty.
Yes, it is. Well, this is the produce industry, so people are around for a long time. It's a pretty cool industry to work in.
So it sounds like a lot of the benefits that you're providing, both for the long-term exhibitors as well as the new exhibitors, are things that really don't cost you a lot, but yet they're still very well received, it sounds like. What have you found as far as the cost benefit?
Yeah, definitely. We evaluate what these benefits are, every 3 years or so, just to make sure they're still viable and to look if there's anything else new going on or new things that we have that, again, don't cost that much. And we use our exhibitor advisory committee to say, okay, can you validate, are these still really delivering value? And that's really helped us, too, because there were some things we were doing that were costing money that we were doing that they didn't find that valuable. And so we stopped doing those. And at the same time, there are things that maybe didn't cost a lot that were a high staff resource on time that, again, if they weren't really making them feel the love from us, then maybe that wasn't a good use of our time. But, at the same time, there were things like our printed directory where we have pages we can put stuff in, or a magazine we already do, our mobile app, things like that, yes, it cost us little to nothing to do something in there, and we found that those kinds of things were very valuable to them.
Which is such a simple way to express appreciation. Like you said, it's things that you're already doing, and you're just kind of taking them to the next level by, like you said, adding the new exhibitor logo or whatever. So I think I think a lot of times that show organizers make it too complicated to try to reward their exhibitors. So let's shift gears here a little bit and talk about some of the other unique things that your show does. You have some unique sponsorship opportunities, including one that I think is really cool, the Sensory Experience Contest. And I realize, because you are a food show, this is something that wouldn't necessarily work for everyone, but the whole idea of having a participatory contest, can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it works?
Sure. So, one of the challenges we have is our show is so big, and there is a very wide variety of companies as far as how big they are, how much money they have to spend. You have Dole with a 50 by 50 booth, but then you got the mom and pop guy that just comes in with the 10 by 10. And, some of the smaller guys find it challenging to have the money to do the big advertisements or sponsorships. So we were looking for ways, again, to try to give everybody equal fair opportunity to get in front of buyers and other people. So we came up with this idea for the Sensory Experience Contest, and we tweaked it over the years, and I think last year we got closest to what really seems to work. And basically, we have a panel of buyers, and we let any exhibitor submit a recipe. And anybody can do it. It doesn't cost anything to do. They just submit a picture and the recipe, and, we give them some general guidelines about what we're looking for. And then our buyers look at them, and they pick 10 finalists. And those 10 finalists that are picked in advance then get to come be part of an event that takes place at Fresh Summit at our event. So they get to go in a room and have tasting stations, and the buyers come around and taste all their product, and they get the chance to be one-on-one with them and talk to them, which, they might never even get that opportunity on the show floor because it's so big. And then the other thing we do with it, so winners are selected. There's a buyer's choice, and then we also bring in local kids from the area.
I love that part.
Yeah, that we pair them up with the buyer, so they walk around together so that there's a kid's choice and a buyer's choice winner. But all of the 10 finalists, we then use their recipes in all the food for a reception that we hold right after the event. So again, I mean, it's like a great way to get a ton of exposure for them at basically no cost.
True. Well, and then you also put the recipes down the site. I've downloaded some of them. I haven't tried them yet, but there's some recipes on there that sound really good.
Yes, for sure.
And actually, we may even put that link in the show notes, too, so people can go look up some of the recipes if they want. So,
nice.
But I think that's so great because, like I said, it's getting more people involved, and you even bring in the kids and that. So I think that's another thing that shows could do more of, too, is having more of a presence for the future generation. So, you know, you're already showing off to them, you know, what a trade show's like and what's involved and all these different companies and what they can do. And so it's a really good, what do I want to say? It's a really good intergenerational activity.
Yeah, you know, that's really important to PMA. We actually have a foundation, our Foundation for Industry Talent, who that's their main goal and focus is on educating people and bringing them into the produce industry. So they play a big part in our event as well, as far as, you know, college students that come so that they can kind of see and feel, get a feel for the industry itself to see if it's something that they might be interested in being in. And then, you know, also just the angle of wanting to educate consumers, even though this is not a consumer show. You know, we have our Fresh Ideas Showcase where people can showcase new products they have, and we dedicate a section that's just for kids. So we just want to see all the products that would be attractive to kids.
That's very cool. That's neat. Well, and another thing that you do, too, I know, is because it is a food show, you have a lot of food left over, so you have a really nice donation program that you do, too.
We do. I'm really proud to be part of that. You know, and our exhibitors take great pride in it, too. It's pretty cool. At the end of our show, we basically donate the single largest donation of fresh product a local food bank receives in any given year. So it's a big undertaking. We work really closely with the food banks, and they organize. Usually we have around 200 volunteers that come throughout the event and collect produce to take and donate. Yeah, our contractor GES is really great about working with us really closely on it, too, so that we can get as much as possible to the food banks. But it's a really great opportunity. Like I said, our exhibitors like to know that the product is going somewhere that's really benefiting people, and the local food banks are obviously so thankful. But it's pretty cool.
I bet they look forward to your show every year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everybody knows who PMA is and when we're coming to town because of that as far as the food banks. And we have a lot of floral at our show, too, so it's kind of cool with that because we really looked at, like, local hospitals and nursing homes and anywhere else where it would just bring somebody pleasure to have flowers.
Oh, that's a neat idea, too. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat, and, you know, because of the nature of our show, too, you know, because it's a perishable product, we have about 50 refrigerated trailers that are on site at our show the whole time, and basically every day of our show is a move-in and move-out day because our exhibitors want all their product taken off and fresh on every day. So it's a lot of product that gets cycled through and goes to the food banks. After all, you are the Fresh Summit, right? That's right.
Well, Jamie, is there something else that we haven't covered, a special aspect of your show that you'd like to spotlight?
No, I mean, I think you hit on all the high stuff. I really appreciate you inviting me to be part of this.
Well, you are very welcome. Like I said, you guys are doing some really innovative things, and I think that it's awesome to see, especially, like I said, the way that you're building the exhibitor relationships from the very beginning and all the way through the process and making all of your exhibitors feel special. So I really want to thank you for being one of our Trailblazer guests. And we will have, like I said, we'll have links to your site and everything in the show notes. So for those listening, go check it out and see what Fresh Summit is doing.
If you enjoyed today's episode and you'd like to spread the word about the Trade Show Insights podcast, please take a minute to leave a rating and/or review in iTunes. This helps to boost visibility so that more people will find the show. Trade Show Insights is protected by the Creative Commons copyright license. You may feel free to share this recording with colleagues or embed it on your own blog as long as it's shared in its entirety and is not used for commercial purposes. To learn more, please see the link in the sidebar of the show notes at tradeshowinsights.com. That's it for this episode of Trade Show Insights. Be sure to check out our show notes and archives at tradeshowinsights.com or connect with me using the social media links or contact page on the site. I'm Marlis Arnold. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for more tools to improve your exhibit results.